here as a sincere seeker looking for answers, and we welcome them. So I have my panel over here. Let me bring them on. Dandavat Pranam, Arun Krishna Prabhu.
Dandavat Prabhu.
And Dandavat Pranam, Chinmoy Prabhu.
Dandavat Prabhu.
So, before we begin the topic for today, the reading, let's do the auspicious invocation, Mangalacharan, invoking mercy of spiritual masters. Those of you who can join in, please join in. Otherwise, you can simply tune into the vibrations. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Guru Nuvaisnavam Sacha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sacha Om Ajnanatirmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Guru Abhishta Shapurakam Guru Ganera Shisha Sambhushitam Chinta Chinta Samasta Vedanipunam Shri Rupa Panthanugam Govinda Bhidam Ujjalam Vartanam Bhaktianvitam Sundaram Vande Vishwagurun Cha Divya Bhagavat Premdo Hibij Pradam Devam Divyatharum Suchandravadanam Balarka Chelanchitam Sandranandapuram Sadeka Varnam Vairagya Vidyam Budim Shri Siddhantanidhim Subhaktilasitam Saraswatanam Maram Vandetam Shubhadam Madeka Sharanam Nasiswaram Śrīdharam Shri Siddhanta Saraswati Tividito Gaudiya Gurvanvaye Bhato Bhanu Riva Prabhat Gagne Gauda Sankirtane Mayavada Timingilo Daragatan Udhritta Jivanima Krishna Prema Sudhabdigahan Sukham Pradata Prabhum Tam Bhaje Namo Gaura Kishoraya Bhaktavadhuta Murtaye Gaurangri Padma Bhrangaya Radha Bhav Nishevine Bande Bhakti Vinodam Shri Gaura Shakti Sarupakam Bhakti Shastragya Samrajam Radharasa Sudhanidhim Gaura Vrajashita Sheshaira Vaishnaveira Vanda Vigraham Jagannatha Prabhum Vande Premabdhim Vidya Vaishnavam Vancha Kalpataru Bhayascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Nama Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakhyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Namo Mahavadanaye Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratushe Namah. So we're reading from Subjective Evolution of Consciousness. Last time we left off at the last part of chapter 9, Spiritual Evolution. So we're going to pick up from there. And I will just read the last paragraph again so that we're kind of cued in as we go forward. And then we will start chapter 10, which is pure devotion. So if the panel permits, then I can begin.
Yes, Prabhu, please do.
All right. Here we go. So, this is Param Guru Mahārāj. These three things must be there: existence, consciousness, and the food of consciousness, ecstasy, happiness. We are to compare religion on the basis of these three things. In this way, we may ask, what is the proposal of Islam, Christianity, Judaism, or Buddhism regarding existence, knowledge, and ecstasy, which is the goal of all religion? Christianity, Islam, Vaishnavism, so many religious faiths exist. We are to compare them and then accept what is best. Different adjustments are made by each faith. the different religions of the world are not to be cast away, but there are those for whom each will be for the present useful and relevant. But according to our understanding, Kṛṣṇa is the personification of ecstasy and beauty. And so the highest religious process for achieving complete ecstasy will be the search for Sri Kṛṣṇa, reality the beautiful. But how should we search? Through devotion. And what is that? Dedication. What is dedication? Surrender, self-sacrifice, die to live. And what is living? To live in love, Krishna Prem, love divine. The whole picture can be described in 2 words, Krishna Prem. The search for Sri Kṛṣṇa is Sambandha Gyan, or understanding our relationship with the object of our fulfillment. Then what is that search? And what is the end of the search? In a few words, in a nutshell, we have described all these things on the title of our book, The Search for Sri Kṛṣṇa, Reality the Beautiful. And this may be understood through the help of Sri Guru and His grace. It may be explained that the necessity of Guru is there, it is universal. To err is human, but not to err is also an inner tendency. Sri Gurudev comes to us, comes to give us relief from our internal trouble. In this way, the conception of Guru may be developed. The necessity for Guru can be inferred from the universal basis of nature which is present around us. And from there it will gradually move to the Absolute. Ultimately, the conception of Guru will come to Kṛṣṇa. In this highest sense, Kṛṣṇa is Guru. Who can remove all our doubts and satisfy all our inquiries? It is Kṛṣṇa alone. Gradually our faith will develop and take us to the one who can clear all our doubts. We may have doubts upon doubts. One doubt may go and thousands of doubts may come. But Guru is one who can clear all our doubts. Vidyate hridaya grantish chiddante sarva samshaya. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 2nd chapter, verse number 21. Who can do away with all the suspicions in our mind? It is He who is full. In this way, we must progress. The birth of our faith may be in intellectualism, but its goal is transcendental. Let me repeat that. The birth of our faith may be in intellectualism, but its goal is transcendental. The birth of our search and its destination will come to meet together. The birth of faith is from the potency of Kṛṣṇa. And after moving through the whole of the infinite, it will come again to the potency where we will take our eternal position. This is revolutionary and also like a revelation. So, do you mind, Arun Prabhu? Let me just repeat this again for emphasis.
Yes, Prabhu. Please do.
The birth of our search and its destination will come to meet together. The birth of faith is from the potency of Kṛṣṇa. And after moving through the whole of the infinite, it will come again to the potency where we will take our eternal position. Kṛṣṇa consciousness means the infinite in the finite, the affectionate connection of the finite with the infinite helps him to live in infinity. let me read that again. Kṛṣṇa consciousness means the infinite in the finite, the affectionate connection of the finite with the infinite helps him to live in infinity. The finite backed by the infinite may become infinitely resourceful. Our Guru Mahārāj gave the example that if a poor girl marries a prince, although she may have nothing, by her affectionate relationship with the prince, she turns into a princess. So one who has nothing, only a friendly relationship, gets command over everything. This is the nature of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. One's resources may increase in that way. Intrinsically, a jiva soul is insignificant. It is an infinitesimal point of a point of a point, but by coming in affectionate connection with the Absolute, he gets the facility of all the advantages of a life with the Absolute. Then he or she is in possession of the whole. We cannot really ascertain anyone's potency or power without considering his relationship with others. Israel is a small country. Russia could conquer it in 5 minutes. But America is there. So relationships, connections, and friends must be taken into consideration when understanding the power of a thing. There is a fable that shows how a small bird was able to disturb and even control the whole ocean. Once a small bird laid her eggs by the ocean's shore, but the ocean carried the eggs away. When the ocean stole her eggs, the bird became angry and asked for them back, but the ocean would not return them. The bird went to her master. That bird went to his master, and in this way they finally went to Garuda, the master of all birds. Garuda is the servant bird carrier of Vishnu. And Garuda came to the aid of that small bird. He threatened the ocean, "If you don't return this little bird's eggs immediately, I shall drink you to the last drop." The ocean had to submit. In this way, the unlimited ocean was conquered by a small bird. As the moral of the story, Pandit Vishnu Sharma gives this conclusion: when examining a person, we must consider his friends and the friends of his friends.
Pandit Vishnu Sharma is the one who wrote Panchakanda.
We must consider his friends and the friends of his friends. Without such considerations, we should not try to estimate the power of a thing, of a particular thing. Because of friendly association, the ocean was conquered. In the same way, by making friendship with the infinite, one can conquer the infinite.
analogy, an example that comes to my mind. Our eyes are very, very limited. But if we had an affection, a loving affection in the form of a big lens, which is in front of you like a telescope, then your vision is better than people can see. Details of distant galaxies will become available to us just by that connection that empowers that little eyes of ours to see that infinite. So that's a mechanical analogy of what Param Guru Maharaj is indicating.
That is also given to illustrate parampara system. So the gurus being transparent media, how they align as lenses, one after the other, and then bring that object of our fulfillment closer to us. So that's also given in that way. But yeah, I mean, I like how in this aphorism Param Guru Maharaj says that Kṛṣṇa consciousness means the infinite in the finite. I mean, that is so paradoxical to just like if someone tries to be just in a mundane way try to be intellectual, it won't be something which is commonly understandable. It's paradoxical. It's the infinite in the finite, infinite in the finite. How is that possible? So, very beautiful. So that's the end of chapter 9. And any reflections, Chinmoydev Prabhu, before we begin chapter 10, pure devotion?
Prabhu, we got a question from Facebook.
Okay.
Raghava Pandit Das.
Okay.
And it's in the chant.
We can hear you. You're mute.
So the question is, I put it in the chat, where in history can you find the absolute truth in this relativistic culture?
Could you repeat that, please? Where in history?
Where in history can you find the absolute truth in this relativistic culture?
In this relativistic culture?
Culture.
Well, you don't have to look that far. Just maybe a little over 500 years. We had the Supreme Absolute with his paraphernalia appear and perform his sweet pastimes in a magnanimous way, which was accessible to all beings. Because when Lord Kṛṣṇa appeared in another age, it was his pastimes were limited to a circle, like a closed circle. They weren't available to just people at large. But when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, and the identity of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is also known as Channavatar. So Channavatar means someone who is not easily understood, or it's not as apparent without someone actually making a genuine inquiry into his pastimes and his identity. So he is the supreme absolute in its entirety, which means he is the supreme predominating moiety and the supreme predominated moiety combined together. And if someone wants to look at like what is the proof, then Srimad Bhagavatam is the proof. And if someone doesn't believe in Srimad Bhagavatam, then it's really pointless to even talk to them. Because in Srimad Bhagavatam, clearly it is given that he will appear. And one verse in Srimad Bhagavatam settles this. Just one verse. There are others. Which says, Kṛṣṇa varnam tusha krishnam sangopangastra parshadam yajna sankirtana prayer yajantihi sumedasa. This is the verse which foretells the descent of the absolute truth in Kali Yuga. And that is recent history. So it says, Kṛṣṇa varnam tusha krishnam. So the primary understanding is, he will be always describing Krishna. He will be talking about his pastimes, chanting his holy names. Tusha krishnam, a Krishna. He himself will be of a golden complexion. He won't be like the dark rain cloud, like Krishna. So he himself will be Gauranga. He will be fair-skinned. Tusha Krishnam. Sangopanga sa ang upang sangopangastra parsadam. And he will descend not because he's the king. When he descends with all his parshad, all his paraphernalia, his family, his friends, his associates, and his expansions of his expansions. They will all come down. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. This is Pancha Tattva. So all the tattvas, they all descend, all full descent. And he, Yajna Sankirtana prayer, and he will inaugurate Sankirtana Yajna, which is the congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord, the prescribed religion of this age. So who can prescribe and who can inaugurate? It is the Absolute. All rights are reserved with him. So he inaugurates. And then in the last part, Srimad Bhagavatam says, Yajantihi Sumedhasa. Which means only persons endowed with fine theistic intelligence will be able to see through the apparent and be able to spot the absolute and follow. Because it is not possible ordinarily. So, Yajantihi Sumedasa. This is Srimad Bhagavatam foretelling the descent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then there are others. Dhyayam paribhavagna abhishtadoham tirtaspadam shiva virinchi nutam saranyam Bhrityartyaham pranatapal bhavabdipotam Mande Mahapurushate Charanaravindam. He is mentioned as Mahapurush in Srimad Bhagavatam. Mande Mahapurushate Charanaravindam. So he is glorified like that. So, like that, one must inquire. And it is good that one comes in association of devotees. Only then it becomes clear, because I myself was supremely confused that I really don't know. I've just known Sriman Mahaprabhu as a great devotee and someone who was who used to perform Sankirtan. That's about it, right? Arun Krishna Prabhu. I mean, growing up in India, you and me. I mean, what was your knowledge as you learned about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Was it more? Because in books, that's all we learn.
It was really, really hidden. Just some shadow here and there, some books. And as you rightly said, Prabhuji, Only when somebody submits and comes in contact with pure Vaishnava, then we have suddenly what was really an indication becomes much more clear and full-fledged in terms of some vision of who Sriman Mahaprabhu is and how he wants the rest of the world or rest of time unfold is his will, and he's Prakat Purnata.
Beautiful. So, Chinmayadev Prabhu, did we do some justice to the inquiry, or?
I believe so. I'd also would like to mention that, and Guru Maharaj was mentioning this in the book, Subject Evolution of Consciousness, that if we want to find now the absolute truth, we have to find the devotee of the Lord who is the channel of that absolute truth. So where that absolute truth is descending through the devotee of the Lord, there we have to search our fortune.
Joy. So please, I forget their name, but if you stick around with us, I mean, we're simply discussing these topics and all of this with some background, with some sanction, and then slowly when you read with us, then you can make further inquiry and get in touch with much higher devotees, and like Chinmayadev Prabhu said, who are actually empowered to give you connection and so forth. So we have all of that. My only request is, humble request is to please stick with us. And Chinmayadev Prabhu has many different platforms that you can have access to and listen to Hari Katha, Gaur Katha. And in that way, you will be able to acquaint yourself with the holy descent of the Lord, Supreme Absolute, in his most magnanimous descent. We say Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namani Gaurattushe Nama. Right? Mahavadanyaya. And Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Anarpita Charim Chirat Karunavatirna Kalo Samarpaitum Unnato Jalarasam Swabhakti Shriyam Hari Purata Sundara Duti Kadamba Sandipita Sada Hridaya Kandare Spuratau Vasachinandana. So he gives this, he says, Anarpita Charim Chirat. From the beginning of time, there has never been anyone as munificent and magnanimous as the descent of Gauranga. Karunavatirna Kalau, in this age of Kali Yuga. Unimaginable how that can happen, but it has happened. Right? Karunavatirna Kalau. Samarpaitum unnato jalarasam swabhakti shriyam. And he is giving swabhakti shriyam. He is providing bhakti. I'm sorry, I was looking at something.
We received another question from Facebook.
Okay.
From one Shakira Chetty.
Uh-huh.
And Dandavat Pranams, everyone. May I ask, if one has to fall down to lower planetary systems, does Krishna also descend to these planets?
So Krishna Leela is going on perpetually. It doesn't depend on him physically being present or not being present, but his name, for now, like we're chanting his name, he is fully present with his full potency in his name. It doesn't depend on him physically being present. Because remember, we are trying to live in the conscious plane, not in any planetary system. So we have to free our our mind from this conception of the space-time continuum. Right? Space and time continuum, we're so conditioned that we can't lose this. But His Leela and His accessibility is for every jiva. He says, Suhridam Sarvabhutanam. Sarvabhutanam means all planetary systems. It doesn't mean just Sarvabhutanam on this planet. But he doesn't say that. He says, Suhridam, I am the well-wisher, the loving well-wisher of all that lives. Sarvabhutanam. So all that is conscious. I am the well-wisher. I am the ecstasy. He says that. Suhridam Sarvabhutanam. So does not depend on planetary systems. And Param Guru Maharaj says this. He says, do good people go to hell? He says, from the Vaishnava perspective, yes. Why? So that people of hell can benefit. So it does not matter. And really Vaishnavas and real devotees, they don't consider their physicality or where they are physically present, whether it's heaven or hell, does not matter. If they have association of devotees in any way, and if they have access to chant the holy name, then that is all in all for them. So that is my humble submission, is that planetary systems does not depend. It doesn't depend. No calculation is necessary that, oh, it's a lower planetary system, so therefore, no, not possible. We look at Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj appeared in a high-class family. So it is not like that. That's what we follow, and we try and understand and share, is that it does not depend on anything. Nothing material. Planetary systems are a creation of this material world. But that flow, and Gauranga Mahaprabhu, that his flow is also piercing through all these 14 systems. It does not Sankirtan movement, you think, is just restricted to east, west, north, south of the earth or the globe? No. I mean, for the sweet Hari Katha and Gaur Katha, all systems, all agents of all systems gather. Wherever there is Hari Katha. So there is no restriction, there is nothing. The only thing is one has to be a little greedy to get it. Whether lower planetary system, higher planetary system does not matter. It's an internal thing. Internally, if I am greedy, which unfortunately I'm not, but we're trying to be, but that is the whole idea, is that a little greed can take us in that direction, into that inward journey. Outwardly, we may be in any external environment. It doesn't matter. Hare Krishna. So should we go on?
Definitely.
All right. Chapter 10, if anyone wants to follow, Pure Devotion. Subjective Evolution of Consciousness. This is Param Guru Maharaj. Once Bhaktivinoda Thakur had a dream in which he was wandering in the sky chanting the holy name. He came upon the court of Yamraj where Yamraj himself was sitting with Brahma, Narad, and others discussing a point from a verse in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 30. Api ched suduracharo bhajate mam anannabhag sadhurev sa mantavya samyak vyavasitau hisa. The generally accepted meaning of this verse is, even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is an anannabhag, devotee, who worships me alone in devotional service, which is free from karma and jnana, he is to be considered saintly, because his endeavors are completely on my behalf and his determination is fixed. Here, Kṛṣṇa says, whatever he has done, if he is exclusively given to myself, he should be considered as my devotee. Samyak vyavasito hisa. And whatever he is doing is 100% right. But then the next passage says, Chipram bhavati dharmatma. Very soon he will become a man of righteousness. He will become dharmatma, dutiful. So a little pause here. This is the next verse. Chipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat chantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanehi name bhakta pranashyati. So those are the two verses. Verses 930 and 931. So this is what is being discussed. Back to Param Guru Maharaj. As Yamraj, Brahma and Narad discussed this point, a question came up. Kṛṣṇa says, Bhajate mam anannabhag, one who is my exclusive devotee. The question arises, what is exclusive devotion or ananya bhajan? Kṛṣṇa says, give up all other religious conceptions and surrender to me alone. Sarva dharmana paritajya mamekam sharanam raja. That is exclusive devotion. But if one is practicing exclusive devotion, then he is already dharmatma. He is already righteous. How is it then that in the very next verse, Kṛṣṇa says, soon he becomes dharmatma? How are we to adjust this? Kṛṣṇa says, Chipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat chantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijani name bhakta pranashyati. He soon becomes righteous, dharmatma, and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. This is the general meaning of this verse. Kṛṣṇa tells Arjuna, he soon becomes dharmatma. My devotee is never ruined. Go and declare this to the public. Kṛṣṇa says that after the devotee became anannabhag, that is, he gave up all sorts of duties and surrendered to Kṛṣṇa, then again he will be a dutiful man. How is this to be understood? As Brahma, Narad and Yamraj discussed this point, they saw Bhaktivinoda Thakur walking in the sky and taking the holy name. Then one of them suggested, there is a pure devotee. He should be able to give the real meaning. Then Bhaktivinoda Thakur was invited in their midst and was asked, how shall we adjust these points? Kṛṣṇa has said that this person is an exclusive devotee, that he has renounced all sorts of duties and surrendered to Kṛṣṇa. And yet, in no time it will be seen that he is very dutiful. How can we understand this? Right? So a little pause here. The question is that in the first verse he says, Apichet suduracharo bhajte mam annabhak So he's saying that devotee is anannabhak. He is engaged in exclusive devotion. He has no other duties. He has given up all religious principles. And he is exclusively devoted to service of Krishna. Anannabha. Bhajte mam anannabha. But in the next verse, it says, Chipram bhavati dharmatma. So what is the question of these entities of higher planetary systems? Who is discussing this? Brahma, Narad. So Brahma, we know who Lord Brahma is. We know who Devarshi Narad is. Yamraj. These are higher planetary system personalities, right? And who is walking past them in the sky? Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So comparatively, if you just see the situation, he was from a lower planetary system. But these higher planetary persons know Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur as a pure devotee, so they're inviting him, please, can you please come, can you please answer this and solve and adjust these points. Back to Param Guru Maharaj. Then Bhaktivinoda Thakur was invited in their midst and was asked, how shall we adjust these points? Kṛṣṇa has said that this person is an exclusive devotee, that he has renounced all sorts of duties and surrendered to Kṛṣṇa. And yet, in no time it will be seen that he is very dutiful. How do we understand this? Now, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explained that he quickly becomes righteous refers not to the exclusive devotee, but the one who considers the exclusive devotee pure in all circumstances. Hare Krishna. See? So, Chipram bhavati dharmatma shasya chantim nigacchati says, Kaunteya pratijani name bhakta pranashyati. That's why you go declare so that you can become pure. Huh? Back to Param Guru Maharaj. Even if he performs some abominable act, he is really a sadhu, a saint. One who can think of an exclusive devotee in that way will soon become dharmatma. This was Bhaktivinoda Thakur's explanation. In this way, in my commentary on Bhagavad Gita, I have followed Bhaktivinoda Thakur's explanation. I also saw that it was redundant to say that an Ananyabhak devotee becomes Dharmatma. Kṛṣṇa says that an exclusive devotee should be thought of as a sadhu, an honest man. One who says that an exclusive devotee, a surrendered soul to Kṛṣṇa, should be thought of as pure, whatever be his external practices, the man who is making this remark, he becomes righteous. That is the proper explanation. A proper conclusion. Pardon me. What he says is 100% truth. And the next thing Kṛṣṇa says is that he who can remark in such a way will be purified very soon.
Probably this is a classical example of if I'm in Oxford or wherever else and I'm trying to do a literal reading of scripture, he will miss the forest for the trees completely.
Because that's what growing up, that's what we read, that he becomes Dharmatma. But the thing is that the Ananyabhak is already Ananyabhak. How does he become a Dharmatma? These are finer points and they do not become clear unless one is in association of these higher Vaishnavas. Kṛṣṇa says that by such appreciation of the exclusive devotee, a person will soon come to his eternal duty and attain eternal peace. So I ask you, O son of Kunti, Arjun, to go and promise in public that my exclusive devotee will never be lost. Kaunte pratijani nam bhakta pranashati. Then you will get the benefit of the man whose remark improves his life. Otherwise, why should Kṛṣṇa tell Arjun, make a public announcement that my devotee is never ruined? What effect will there be for Arjun? But one who declares an exclusive devotee of Kṛṣṇa is saintly, no matter what he does, soon becomes righteous. If Arjuna declares this, he will become Dharmatma. Hare Krishna. These insights and these beautiful these secrets are not revealed till we have grace from Gurudev and Param Guru Mahārāj and Vaishnavas. I mean, you can know as much Sanskrit, you can know as much literature, it doesn't matter. Back to Param Guru Mahārāj. So Kṛṣṇa tells him, you make this remark, take a bold step, take a risk and make this remark. Then you will also get that benefit I have described. Of course, Arjun is a Parshad, an eternal associate of Kṛṣṇa. But using him as an example, Kṛṣṇa tells him, you do it. Arjuna has taken the position of an inquirer independent of his Parshad character. When I was publishing my commentary on Bhagavad Gita, a god brother once told me, if you give such an explanation, then in the name of Ananya Bhak Bhakti, exclusive devotion, less advanced devotees will take advantage of this. What you are revealing here is a very hidden meaning. It is not meant for the public. It is a confidential point. Api chet suduracharo bhajate mam anannabha saduraiva. He may be the worst debauchee in his outer life, but if he is anannabhak, a surrendered soul, he should be considered a really honest man. If you explain things according to your interpretation, everyone will say, oh, I am an anannabhak devotee. So, pardon me, then we have the license to do whatever we want, right? Ananya Bhak devotee, and they will go on with their debauchery. So please don't express this interpretation of yours so explicitly. But I published my commentary over this objection because the principle underlying this verse is an important one. One who has surrendered to Kṛṣṇa is accepted as his own. And just as Kṛṣṇa has rights over everything and is never a trespasser, so his own man should never be considered a trespasser at any time. This is confirmed elsewhere in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Atma bhuyaya chakalpate. My devotee belongs to me. What is that verse? Martyo yada tyakta samasta karma nivedita atma vichikirshito me tadamratattam patipaddamano mamatma bhuyaya chakalpate. Hare Krishna. So one who works by inspiration from Krishna should never be considered a trespasser. He can enjoy anything on Krishna's behalf if he is really a surrendered soul. He should be considered as Krishna's. He has free access to everything that belongs to Krishna. But some objected, saying, "Don't be so broad in your interpretation. If you do so, then the people at large will do abominable things in the name of pure devotion. They will say, 'Oh, I am Vaishnava, I am Achyuta Gotra, I am one of Krishna's own men. What is his property is mine, I can enjoy everything.' Then of course the question comes, how do we recognize Ananya Bhakti, exclusive devotion? The real trouble is here. Merely professing that I am a pure devotee won't do. Rather, a real devotee will think, I am not a real devotee. That will be his understanding, his inner feeling. Exclusive devotion is not a small thing. A genuine devotee thinks, I can't be an Ananya Bhakta. I have not attained that stage. It is very difficult. Rather, I am going away from that. That will be the general tenor of his attitude. What to speak of lesser devotees? Srimati Radharani herself says, people associate me with Krishna. They say that I have an illicit connection with Krishna. But what they say is all false. My grief is that I could not give my entire heart to Krishna. I cannot say that I am completely his. My internal trouble is that I could not become wholly his, and they falsely think that I am. I have no objection to becoming fully his, even to having an illicit connection with him, but that I can't become so, this is my great fault. That will be the general attitude of a real Ananya Bhakta. Just the opposite tendency will come. The fact is that one who has accepted Krishna exclusively has no taste for any other thing. So really, he is not Durachar. He is not capable of acting in an abominable way. Internally, he is always connected with Krishna. In external life, he is indifferent. So what he is doing is not done by him. One who acts in that plane of reality may destroy thousands of universes, but does not do anything. Hatva pisaiman lokan nahantina nibaddhate. He is acting in the transcendental plane, the nirguna plane. He is not to be seen in terms of what is good or bad in the calculation of this world. He is absent here. What is in connection with Krishna is all good. It is nirguna, transcendental, without material qualities. In this world, truth is a relative thing. This is true, this is not true, this is mine, this is yours. What value do these things have? If a devotee steals a flower for Krishna, you may say, oh, why are you stealing my flower? But what is the guarantee that the flower belongs to you? These are different stages of bogus conceptions of reality. A man who has possession of some land declares himself the owner. Then a big landowner comes and says, you are not the owner. I have real possession of this land. I have allowed you only to use it. But beyond the landowner, a king may come and say, oh no, this is my land. Your ownership is only relative. I am the ruler of this land. It belongs to me. In this way, one relative conception of truth fights with another. And morality stands only on this conception. This is mine, that is yours. So I just happened to look at the time. It's nearly an hour. And I would like to request the panel that if you permit, then we could pause over here and then pick it up in our next session. Is that agreeable, Chinmoy Prabhu and Arun Krishna Prabhu?
Very nice.
Hare Krishna. Jai Param Guru Mahārāj ki jai. So we will have Hari Harai. Give me a second. Let me see if I can herd the cats. Oh, I already hear objections. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, time flows and we don't even get to know an hour is.
I know.
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
Jai Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Shri Advaita Gadadhara Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha
Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah
Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan
Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan
Giridhari Gopinatha Madana Mohan
Giridhari Gopinath
Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra
Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita
Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Gadadhara Shivasadi
Jaya Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath
Jaya Sanatan Bhattara
Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath.
Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasa Raghunath.
Jai Gosai Kuri Charana Bandhan.
Jai Gosai Kuri Charana Vandhan.
Jaha hoite Vignanasha Vishta Puran.
Jaha hoite Vignanasha Vishta Puran.
Ichai Gosai Jahar Mui Taradas.
Jai Gosai Kuri Charana Vandhan.
Tansabara Padarenu Mora Panchagras.
Sabar Padarin Maranchagras.
Tandera Charana Se Bhi Bhakta Sanevas.
Andhra Charana Se Bhi Bhakta Sanevas.
Jana me Mora Ei Abhilash.
Jana me mora ehi abhilash.
Ichai Gosai Jabe Braja Koilabas.
Ichai Gosai jabe braje koilabas.
Shri Shri Radha Krishna Nitya Leela Korilo Prakash.
Shri Radha Krishna Nitya Leela Korilo Prakash.
Anand Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan.
Anande bolo Hari bhaj Vrindavan.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majayaman.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majayaman.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas.
Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas.
Hari Nam Sankirtana Kohe Narottama Das.
Hari Naam Sankirtan Kohe Narottama Das.
Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama,
Haribo.
Rama, Hare Hare.
Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jai Gauranga Sundar, Jai Gauranga Sundar, Jai Gauranga Sundar, Jai Gauranga Sundar.
Jai Gauranga Sundar, Jai Gauranga Sundar, Jai Gauranga Sundar, Jai Gauranga Sundar.
Joy. Alright. Anika ji, take it away with the Jai Dhwani, please.
Vrinda Vrindavar Govinda Sundar Girdhar Gopilaju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishpat Puruhamsha Purchasara Vartajim Srimad Bhakti Sundar Dev-Goswāmī Mahārāj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishpat Puruhamsha Purchasara Vartajim Srimad Bhakti Rasakshara Dev-Goswāmī Mahārāj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishpat Puruhamsha Purchasara Vartajim Srimad Bhakti Sanatana Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Bhakti Guru Kishore Das Babi Mahārāj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishpat Puruhamsha Ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Om Vishpat Jagannath Das Babi Mahārāj Ki Jai. Shri Padma Guru Varga Ki Jai. Namaskar Shri Hari Das Thakur Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Baladeva Vidya Bhushan Ki Jai. Shri Vishwanath Thakur Guru Ki Jai. Shri Narottama Sham Mandir Shivashni Sharpu Ki Jai. Shri Ravindravan Das Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Kṛṣṇa Kavraj Ki Jai. Saprasada Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Saprasada Shri Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Bhakti Shri Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Niraj Govind
Jai.
Shri Bhagavad Ki Jai. Shri the Bhakti Vigna Vinashara Shri Nrsimha Deva Ki Jai. Bhakta Prabhupada Mahārāj Ki Jai. Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai. Ganga Jamuna Ji Ki Jai. Rajashan Bhagavatam Chaitanya Chamatra Ki Jai. Vishwa Pabhyata Sikama Ki Jai. Vishwa Vaishnava Raja Sabha Ki Jai. Prasmat Chaitanya Ma Ki Jai.
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 Kitan Paraspadma Ki Jai.
Jai.
Maya Ki Jai.
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 Nabha
Jai.
Jai.
Bhagwan Kitan Dham Ki Jai.
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 Baladeva Subhadra Jagannath Ji Ki Jai. Shri Govinda Kunda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Shiva Ganga Ji Ki Jai.
Jai.
Samveta Vishnu Mandal Ki Jai.
Jai.
Bhakta Vinda Ki Jai.
Jai.
Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai.
Jai.
Ki Jai Gaur Pramanande Hari.
Hari Hari Bol. Jai. Preeti ji, Bikram ji, and Anika ji ki jai. Shripad, our distinguished panel, Shripad Arun Krishna Prabhu ki jai. Shripad Chinmadev Prabhu ki jai. Nandarani Didi ki jai. Elite Kirtan Group ki jai. Abaji ki jai. Jai. Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardhan Maharaj ki jai. Jai. Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Maharaj ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Acharya Vrinda ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Sannyasi Vrinda ki jai. Nittai Gaur Premanande.
Hari
Hari Hari Bol.
Sripad Jairam Prabhu Ki Jai. Elite Kirtan Group Ki Jai.
All right. Stopping the stream.